up late watching the Buckeye game, but for those who did, you watched a wonderful game, right, Tony?
Oh, absolutely. It was a fantastic game, and if you fall asleep during this webinar, I will absolutely forgive you. Thanks so much, Derek. We have some things to talk about. There's a new legislative session. The 131st General Assembly has come into power now, and as we've talked about before, the House is controlled by Republicans. The Senate is controlled by Republicans. The governor's office is controlled by Republicans. So it really is a Republican-dominated General Assembly, and actually statewide offices as well. With things, there are also new leadership positions, and some of the ones that I want to talk about. The new Speaker of the House is a guy named Cliff Rosenberger, who is a very young man. He might actually be the youngest speaker to ever hold that position. He is a 33-year-old gentleman, conservative, who will be running the House. So he will, I'm sure, do a fine job, and will be following up from what Bill Batchelder had done as well. Second in charge, the Speaker Pro Temp, is Ron Amstutz. He was the Finance Chair last General Assembly, very well respected, from kind of a north central Ohio, up in the Worcester area. Barb Sears, a former nurse, and always takes interest in health and wellness issues, is the majority floor leader. Jim Beakey, who actually had authored the powdered alcohol bill, is the assistant majority floor leader. The minority leader is Fred Strayhorn, who was a senator a few times. He's kind of bounced back and forth between Senate and House. And Nicholas Celebrezzi, who I am guessing, I have not read his bio, but I'm sure he's part of the Celebrezzi family. So in the House, whether he's Tony Celebrezzi's relation, he is part of the Celebrezzi family. The new House leadership, this is what we're looking at for the next General Assembly. The Senate, Keith Faber continues to be the Senate President. There was no turnover in that. Chris Widener is the President Pro Tem. Tom Patton is the Majority Floor Leader. Larry Obhoff is the Majority Whip. Joe Schiavone has always taken, he's the Minority Leader, he has always taken interest in health and wellness issues, and has been quite supportive in some of the things that we have done. Charlita Tavares is also, she's from Columbus. She is another person who has been very helpful in some of the things that we have done. She's interested in health, wellness, drug and alcohol issues, mental health wellness issues, especially in the minority community. So I know that she has been involved in some of the UADOP things here in the Cap City. Edna Brown is from Toledo. She'll be the Minority Whip, and Lou Gentile will be the Assistant Minority Whip. Keith Faber, the Senate President, has he actually helped take part in some of the Start Talking events. He has been coming around on some of our issues and been favorable, especially toward some of the opiate issues with children of his own. He openly has talked about some of the talks that he has with his kids, and wants to make sure that, especially again, the opiate issue is something that is on the forefront of the General Assembly's mind. Chris Widener is over in the Springfield area. He has also been a group that is Danielle Smoot from Coles Warriors has been really good in getting him involved in the issue, especially meetings with her and getting to understand the opiate issue. So Senator Widener has also been. He's also very much into the how is this impacting folks on a financial level, whether it be business, whether it be individuals. He used to be over the controlling board, so he takes a financial look at everything and is a very, very bright guy as well. So these are the leadership positions that we have in the State House right now, and that will continue on for the next couple years unless someone moves on from their Senate or House seat for whatever reason. And then we have just a ton of the House committees were named yesterday, and we have just a massive group of those folks. Some of the ones that we're really concerned, not concerned with, but we focus on are the Health and Aging Committee. That's where a lot of the bills that we end up testifying on and looking toward. Those end up in the Health and Aging Committee. We have Finance and Appropriations is another committee that we really take a look at and want to be a part of that conversation. Education, I think we need to be involved more in that as we move forward. There's a new committee that Representative Speaker Rosenberger created. It's called it's about the fourth one down there, called the Community and Family Advancement Committee. This is new. We have never had one of these before, so time will tell what kind of issues, what kind of bills will be heard by that committee. I know that Representative Derrickson has always been a champion for prevention. We have had many, many great conversations with him, Dan Ura and Mary Haig and some of those coalitions down in Southwest Ohio. He has worked closely with them, so he is really, really on top of our issues and has always been a champion for us. Some of the other champions that have been really, really active in our field are Representative Terry Johnson with the Armed Services. He started the whole opiate focus at the State House 3 or 4 years ago, and continues to really be. He's a medical. I don't know if he's a doctor, but he is in the medical field, and he's always been really, really good with our issues. Ron Amstutz in the Rules and Reference Committee has been a champion. Representative Marlene Anielski at the local government, she does the majority of the suicide prevention bills. Her son a few years ago had taken his own life, and she is really, really passionate about mental health wellness and suicide prevention and those types of things. Representative Gonzalez, we've got a really, really nice group of folks who have heard about our issues, and we have some champions there. Another champion who I think is really, really a good guy to have on our side is Representative Brian Smith. He and Representative Robert Sprague chaired the opiate town halls from a couple summers ago, and Representative Smith has been an absolute stalwart on our issues, and he is head of finance now. He is actually a businessman from, I think, more of the southeast Ohio area, and he really has been extremely supportive of what of prevention and trying to battle this opiate problem. So we're really, really excited about Representative Smith being head of the Finance Committee. So we have these are the House committees. The Senate committees have not been named yet. Those should be in the next few days, and you know, we'll see if there are new committees added to that, and how that all works out. Going on, some of the things that we will be, I did want to, we're going to move on to the next slide. However, I did want to say that one of the foci of the new General Assembly will be the budget. That will be the first half of this year. Will be all budget talk all the time. And one of the things that that have been talked about at state meetings, especially with some of the groups outside of prevention, however, have the continuum of care that they represent, is Medicaid expansion. So I know that will be another hot topic. There are some legislators that do not support Medicaid expansion. In fact, the last time we went through this, the governor actually had to go through the controlling board to fund Medicaid expansion. So you know, trying to get this in the budget is something that we're you know, we are going to be at the table on, and we'll see how that turns out. We do have there's lots of things going on with marijuana around the state of Ohio. We have new groups popping up. We have the Ohio Rights Group that's still kind of wandering out there. The Ohio Rights Group have said they have about 150,000 signatures now. Because of the way that it used to be, the way that they determine how many signatures they need to get something on the ballot is the number of folks. It's 10% of however many people voted in the last gubernatorial election. There was a large turnout in the previous election between Kasich and Strickland. That's where you got the 385,000. Well, there were quite a few less people voting the Fitzgerald-Kasich election this past November. So really, and I do have a typo there, it is actually 312,000 signatures that are needed, not 305,000 signatures. So I just looked and somehow did that. So I apologize for that. But they do need 312,000 instead of 385,000 signatures now. Now, realistic, and those have to be verified. And especially the way that they're focusing on college kids and those types of folks who kind of move around a lot, whether it be apartment to apartment or school to school. The signatures have to be verified by address. So realistically, to get the 312,000 signatures, you're probably going to need still about 500,000 to 600,000 to get that thing verified. They're still doing, you know, they still have the same ballot language. They still have the same, you know, medical necessity talking points that they've always had. However, the guy who created it, John Pardee, was ousted. He stepped down from his position. He actually created this Ohio Rights Group, and at the end of the year, he I don't know. He stepped down, and a guy named Carlos McDermott is actually the new chair of the Ohio Rights Group. Carlos McDermott was a former deputy sheriff in Fairfield County for about 10 years, and he is no longer with that position, and he is head of Ohio chapter of the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, and a member of the Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, or what a lot of people call LEAP. So he has taken this up, and and he says he's going to reinvigorate this, and has new ideas on collecting signatures and those types of things. So Mr. McDermott is heading that group up now. Again, it's the same language that we have talked about numerous times in the past. There's also two actually recreational legalization initiatives that have popped up in the last couple weeks. One of them is from a group called Responsible Ohio. If you go to responsibleohio.com, there's actually a countdown on their front page, about a day and 20 hours or something like that, when they will be releasing their ballot language. What they have is basically there are 10 investors. What I understand have contributed about $2 million apiece to create a marijuana market. They say they want to create this just like the casinos around the state of Ohio. There will be 10 growing locations. There will be, and these 10 folks, whoever they are, we don't know who they are yet. We will, I guess, in a couple days, and at least we'll be able to see some of their legislative pieces. There's the countdown right now. We've got an hour, 20 minutes, and 43 minutes and 20-some-odd seconds to where they're going to release their big, I'm guessing their language. I don't know what this means. Heck, maybe they just like that. But we don't. Here's what we don't know. We don't know who these 10 folks are. To invest $2 million apiece, they're obviously very wealthy individuals. We don't know whether they're from the state of Ohio. They said they would like these 10 investors would have 10 growing locations for marijuana. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know where those growing locations would be. Who would have financial interest in this? We don't know. Are ownership shares going to be sold? We don't know. Who's paying for this campaign? We don't know. We know that the public will hear this in the next couple of days, what kind of consultants are working with this on the campaign? Is this a national campaign? We just don't have any kind of answers. What is interesting is the Ohio Rights Group has come out quite strong against this legalization initiative, calling it a legalized marijuana monopoly. And so it's interesting that they have come out against this legalization initiative. The other group that we have, the Ohioans to End Prohibition, has also come out really, really strong, comparing them to a cartel. And interestingly enough, they've said that the Ohio Rights Group are a bunch of, I think they called them dirty hippies in a Cleveland Plain Dealer article. So they have, these Ohioans to End Prohibition, the second one, that they would like to get it on the ballot in 2016, have given some details. We don't have the ballot initiative. They would like folks 21 and older to get marijuana for medical and recreational purposes. They go through, it's kind of confusing, some of the talking points that they've had, that they talking about medical. However, there's also this recreational piece. You don't know how much taxes they're talking about. But these are a bunch of younger folks who have expertise in law, cannabis policy, web design, and grassroots political organizing. And a number of them are Case Western grads from up in Northeast Ohio. They have come out extremely strong against the legalization initiative, the other legalization initiative, Responsible Ohio, also calling them a marijuana monopoly as well. So the two, Ohio Rights Group and the Ohioans to End Prohibition, are beating up on Responsible Ohio, and the Ohioans to End Prohibition are also beating up on the Ohio Rights Group. So there seems to be a lot of infighting. If you like Jerry Springer shows and reality television, this might be right up your alley to watch these types of things. As soon as we get information on how this is looking ballot language and some of those things. We will get that sent out and create some talking points for folks and some concern, kind of a concern document. So those are things that will be coming as soon as we have some kind of language that we can actually read and take apart and voice our concerns as well. There is a group down in Ohio or down in Columbus who are starting to form that group in opposition of any of these 3 ballot initiatives. They are more of a political organizing group, and so we do have someone on our side to combat this. But it is because it's political organizing, we don't have too much to do with that. So there is, don't give up hope that, oh my gosh, we don't know what we're going to get. We really don't, but at the same time, we do have a group that is focused on trying to stop any and all of these from coming into the Buckeye State. So that's the marijuana update. Again, it's kind of fascinating reading, watching them bash each other in the paper. It kind of reminds me of a primary, so where they just bash each other. Today we have actually a marijuana prevention webinar. The laws, they are a-changing, and basically what this will be, I had Marcy and I had an opportunity to attend a inauguration party last night and got to talk with a statewide elected official, and I really think that he came up with the 2 questions that really frame it for the marijuana issue for us. It is, he says he thinks it's twofold. Do we want this for our community? Do we want this for our state? And if it ends up happening, how do we want this to look? And those are the 2 big questions, and that's kind of how we will be talking today. Those will be the focus questions that we'll have. Not saying that it will happen, but there are many states in this country who are now dealing with a lot of the policy issues, and this will be more of a policy. Here's what's going on in Colorado. We'll talk about taxes. We'll talk about some of the employer concerns surrounding marijuana, all of those things, and we'll also talk about the market, including some of the edibles, dabbing, something called juju joints, which are new in Washington, which is a brand of kind of a vape cigarette, except it's for marijuana. So there's a lot of things that we would like to bring to folks that have to be considered as marijuana legalization seems to be becoming more in vogue now, with 4 states and the District of Columbia passing it, and our community's ready for that. I think we have to be realistic that there are things, as everybody talks about taxes, but there's an awful lot of the issues that people don't consider. So we'll be talking a lot about that. Today at 1 p.m. Thank God I talked with Derek this morning. I would have been here at 2, and that would have not been good. We encourage you. It's a free webinar. If you have any questions or anything about that, you can contact Derek or myself and get on that. We can send we could send you the registration piece for that as well. And I think I'm going to turn this over to Derek to talk about the MAP Summit.
Thank you, Tony. And if you have questions about anything that Tony has covered so far this morning, feel free to ask them in the question section. Just wanted to again remind you about the Marijuana Advocacy and Policy Summit that we have coming up at the end of March and the beginning of April. The focus here is bridging the gap between science and public opinion, because we see that the more research that we do in examining the impact of marijuana on communities and individuals, the greater reason it is to make sure that it's not illegal. And however, the public opinion doesn't seem to be consistent with that as more states go to legalize. So that's kind of the overall theme of the conference. We'll have a pre-conference on March 31st, and that's going to focus on law enforcement and higher education. So we've got great speakers lined up there. We've got Monty Stiles, who has worked in a variety of areas and spoken all over the country talking about this issue. And we've got other speakers that we're in the process of confirming now. The April 1st and April 2nd summit will focus on really examining the science behind what the research shows related to marijuana. And then April 2nd will be focused on the advocacy and policy pieces to make sure that we are using sound science in our advocacy and in the policy making for our legislators. The cost for the pre-conference is $99 if you register before January 31st and $199 if registered for January 1st for the summit. And there is that SPECA discount available for that as well, so be sure to look at the emails that Emily sends out related to that so you can get the best rate possible, because we do want to make sure that this is something that is very available to all of our communities, because as we look at these multiple issues that we're seeing related to legalizing marijuana on multiple fronts with multiple groups, we want to make sure that we have not only ourselves and our workforce empowered to really work to address this, but we're skilled to provide that information to our decision makers back home. And the conference will be in Columbus, Ohio, on the north side in the Polaris area, and we've got additional information about that related to the summit, as well as plenary presentations, etc., at drugfreeactionalliance.org/maps. And the only question I have so far for you, Tony, is related to alcohol, and is there any updates on the powdered alcohol piece?
Powdered alcohol did not pass last General Assembly, so we're going to have to revisit that issue. It passed the House, but was stalled in the Senate and eventually did not pass. So if powdered alcohol is approved by the FDA, it would be legal in Ohio. Again, we should go, in my opinion, we should go back and start revisiting this. We do have some powerful partners in this, some strange bedfellows. The alcohol industry seems to be against this. So we're going to meet with them again to see what our next steps might be. And we'll, I think it's a drum that we continue to have to beat, and then hopefully we'll get something passed in this General Assembly. This is not a good product, so we'll continue to work on that. And lame duck, it was literally, we thought it was going to pass. Some folks at the State House and some of the lobbyists that we know had anticipating this passing, and for whatever reason it just got stalled in the Senate and was not passed. So we're going to, that's going to be another priority that we work on for the next few months, and hopefully we'll get that passed as well. For those going to CADCA, we have a couple minutes. For those going to CADCA, we will have another state meeting. If you have any questions or anything, contact Emily Brown, and she will get you information and how that's going to all work out. So Emily's on top of things 100 times more than I am. So she's the person. I will probably answer it incorrectly. So go to Emily, and she'll be able to help you with any CADCA needs, or I know that she's scheduled appointments for quite a few folks, and we've been working closely with CADCA to make sure that we aren't doubling up on appointments and those types of things. And I don't see any other questions. There is a SPECA meeting on Tuesday coming up at 10 a.m. at Westerville Public Library. So, we encourage you to come down for that. It looks like it's going to be nice weather, so there shouldn't be any weather issues. It'll be the day after the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, so everybody will be well rested, and it should be a good day of discussion, good networking day, and we're excited about that. So put that on your calendar, and we hope to see you at the SPECA meeting. If we have no questions, then we will see you next time. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you this afternoon at the for the marijuana webinar. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to Emily for feeding Tony information. And thank you all for joining us today. The next webinar will be February 12th at 10 a.m. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us here at 614-540-9985 or through our email addresses. Hope you have a nice, warm day, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you, everyone.